That wave was so massive, and I'm here in downtown Anchorage to give you a perspective on its height. This building behind me is the ConocoPhillips building. It stands at 296 feet and is the tallest building in Anchorage. The tsunami in Lituya Bay reached 1,720 feet. That's almost 6 ConocoPhillips buildings. Lituya Bay is in southeast Alaska. It's a T-shaped bay with a narrow opening. If you entered the bay before the 1958 tsunami, you could see many lines of different age trees that show a glimpse at past waves' impacts to the land. As you continue through the waters, toward the back of the bay, there's glaciers to your right and to your left, in either sides of the points of the T. Under those glaciers is the Fairweather Fault, a powerful fracture in the earth that produced the large quake that sent millions of cubic yards of land from the far wall into the deep water of Lituya Bay.
The cliff that 1,700-foot wave washed up on was just directly across the water, so it was extremely close, and that's why we got such big splashing run-ups.
USGS geologist Don Miller is one of the main scientists who researched the event. He visited the bay within hours of the destruction. The journal of notes he took that day had one haunting line. In Lituya Bay, the destruction is unbelievable. Salisbury says the tsunami is a pinpoint extreme that made its biggest impact inside the bay.
What we do know is that rock fell over 1,000 yards or so into the water. And so we can model it most readily, almost like an asteroid event, because it was a single block of rock that fell into the water. And that caused a lot of cascading effects.
Among the survivors were Howard Ulrich and his 8-year-old boy, Sonny. Howard did interviews with BBC and National Geographic about that deadly day before he passed in 2014. We've used his words, but another reporter's voice to help us relive the day.
The date was July the 9th, 1958. We came into Lituya Bay around 8 o'clock in the evening.
That's my brother and my father.
Howard's son and Sonny's brother Bruce is helping bring their story back to life.
My brother was only 8.
We went into our favorite anchoring spot and dropped our anchor and made supper. And finally, about 9 o'clock, we went to our bunks.
And that's when the magnitude 7.8 quake hit, nearly 45 miles away.
There was a slight pause. I thought that everything was over, but some movement up there caught my attention out of the corner of my eye. And so I looked directly up there, and what I observed was like an atomic explosion. Of this big splash came a huge wave. It looked just like a big wall of water.
In the same interview, Sonny says his dad threw him a life preserver and told him to start praying.
Just coal black and full of logs, just straight up and down. It was actually a pretty horrifying looking sight. I just thought, you know, this is how it ends. No way you're gonna get out of this.
He charged into the wave with the boat because his anchor was hung up on the bottom.
Started pulling all the anchor chain out, and when it got to the end of the chain, I thought it was gonna pull the bow of the boat under, but it snapped the chain just like it wasn't even there.
He got the boat over the top of the wave, and he didn't get washed up on shore. Did his job.
I looked down over the stern of the boat, and we were looking down at the trees, and I figured that's where we're gonna end up.
And he was just trying to do whatever he could to keep the boat pointed into the wave.
I had never heard or seen anything like this. It was unbelievable. I couldn't imagine what could have caused anything. I just kept wondering what mechanism could cause something like that.
Even with the force of the world's largest recorded tsunami, Howard navigated the boat through the water that was sloshing on all sides of the bay.
Once he had established that he was safe, he was trying to look for those other boats in the bay, and he had to run around all those backwash spouts that were slapping up 20, 30 feet or something in the air. And then, of course, there started to be a line of trees and logs that were beginning to form up like a big raft, and they were kind of forcing him